ice caps are melting, water levels are rising, bees are dying, and forests are on fire. Are scientists on the brink of achieving mortality? Who knows? We won't be alive long enough to find out because of climate change. As an inhabitant of Earth, I felt that it was necessary to educate myself, along with others, on the importance of climate change and going green. According to National Geographic, many people think of global warming and climate change as synonyms, but scientists prefer to use climate change when describing the complex shifts now affecting our planet's weather and climate systems. Climate change encompasses not only rising average temperatures, but also extreme weather events, shifting wildlife population and habitats, rising seas, and a range of other impacts. Today, I would like to share with you the information I have gathered to further educate you about the dangers of climate change and why it is important to change your daily or weekly habits to accommodate them. Let's begin by discussing the main causes of climate change. Overwhelming scientific consensus says human activity is primarily responsible for global climate change. Average temperatures on Earth have increased at a rate far faster than can be explained by natural climate changes. A survey by German scientists found that 83.5% of climate scientists believe human activity is causing most of recent global climate changes. Lead researcher Richard A. Mueller, PhD, said it appears likely that essentially all of this increase in temperature results from the human emission of greenhouse gases. Human beings are a huge factor in global warming and climate change issues. According to Christina Nunes, all of these changes are emerging as humans continue to add heat-trapping greenhouse gases to the atmosphere. Also, according to Christina Nunes, climate models are designed to take such factors into account. For example, models have found that changes in solar irradiance and volcanic aerosols have contributed only about 2% of the recent warming effects over 250 years. The balance comes from greenhouse gases and other human-caused factors, such as land use changes. One of the most negative and devastating causes of climate change and the downfall of our ecosystem is pollution and the different forms of contamination. One cause of pollution and the result it has on the climate would be the use of pesticides and or fertilizers. Use of pesticides and fertilizers on farms has increased by 26-fold over the past 50 years, fueling increases in crop production globally. Things like fertilizers and pesticides can invade the ecosystem by polluting the soil and nearby water sources, which then make the water and land unusable. The water is no longer good for drinking, farming, or sustaining any nearby forms of life, such as fish or reptiles that may have been familiar to that area. Another big form of pollution is air pollution. The burning of fossil fuels in both energy, plants, and vehicles releases massive amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, causing climate change. Industrial processes also emit particulate matter, such as sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, and other noxious gases. Bigger factories or even everyday activities like smoking or driving a car contribute to air pollution. These all pollute the environment in big ways, which have become even more dangerous and catastrophic over the years as they have continued to build up. Along with air pollution, there are also personal health risks, such as respiratory issues, headaches, nausea, and even lung cancer. While others argue against climate change, there is a lot of proof. There's proof of climate change with the rise of global temperature. The planet's average surface temperature has risen about 1.62 degrees Fahrenheit or 0.9 degrees Celsius since the late 19th century, a change driven largely by increased carbon dioxide and other human-made emissions and other into the atmosphere. Rises in temperature can and have been caused by carbon emissions and the greenhouse effect. The greenhouse effect is the trapping of the sun's warmth in the planet's lower atmosphere due to the greater transparency of the atmosphere to visible radiation from the sun than to infrared radiation emitted from the planet's surface. How can we combat climate change and help better the planet? One major way is reducing food waste. A third of the food raised or prepared does not make it from the farm or factory to fork. That number is startling, especially when compared with this number. Hunger is a condition of life for nearly 800 million people worldwide, according to Green America. By reducing food waste and the stereotypes around food that has passed the expiration date, more food can be saved. With all of the evidence pointing towards climate change and global warming, it is very important to educate yourself, and it is difficult to hold up arguments against it. It is real and it is very much happening. When it comes to climate change, one of the most common points is pollution. Pollution is indeed a serious factor in this issue. Due to the factors such as global temperature rise in ocean temperatures, and severe and/or catastrophic weather patterns, climate change is a very serious issue that should be made more aware, and it should be made a point to combat these issues.